What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Tarico Satterfield here, your mental performance consultant from Xposure. I'm so excited today. We've been doing an amazing series, and I got a great guest for you guys today. Just like any other time, you guys know that we talk to college athletes, former college athletes, neuroscientists, sports psychologists, whomever is in the sphere of mental wealth building with athletics. And so today is no different than any other day. The only difference is, y'all, you know the song "Who Let the Dogs Out"? They let the gators out. They let the gators out. And so we got a gator here today, a former gator, volleyball player extraordinaire. So let me call. But no, without further ado, guys, man, let me introduce you guys to Miss Kennedy Muff is in the building with us today. What's up, Kennedy?
Hello, so good to see you again and good to talk to you.
No, it's good to see you. So I let the cat out the bag, I guess, a little bit, and told him you're a gator. But tell us a little bit about yourself, you, who you are, where you at, what sports you played, and let's
Yeah,
have a conversation today.
absolutely. No, I'm super excited to be here. So thank you so much for having me on. Just kind of to start right there. But yeah, I'm originally from Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I played volleyball there my whole life. My brother played volleyball, my mom played volleyball, cousins, everybody around. So I kind of just was born into the volleyball family.
Brother, mama, sister, cousin, everybody spiking.
Yep, everybody all around.
You got a smash. I mean, you got a smash mouth house. Everybody say something.
Oh yeah, we're very competitive in our household for sure.
I love it.
But yeah, so played volleyball growing up, and then was getting recruited in high school. I
Mhm.
kinda had a goal of getting out of the Midwest. I cannot handle the weather there anymore. Absolutely love where I was, born and raised, love being in the middle of Milwaukee and Chicago, but, I kinda needed to branch out. So I drew a line across the United States and was like, "I am not going any further north of this line." Like,
You
I
drew
am
the line.
staying.
I'm out.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'm not accepting calls from anyone further north of this line. So I ended up getting recruited primarily Division 1, but then I had a D2 school, Flagler College, reach out to me. My mom actually really pushed me to go on this visit,
Mhm.
and I went to the campus, absolutely fell in love with it. If you've never seen Flagler, it's the most beautiful campus in the world. And so I played 4 years of Division 2 college ball at
Okay.
Flagler.
Okay.
Then I got my COVID year of eligibility back, in 2023, and so I got in the transfer portal given that Flagler didn't have grad school, so I was like,
Mhm.
"Alright, I gotta continue my athletics and my education," and went in the portal. Did not think that this would ever happen, but got a call from the legendary Mary Wise, at the
No.
University of Florida, and
Wow.
then, she asked me to be a Gator, and then finished my fall season there at Florida. And now I am working for a company in Jacksonville called Podium X. And we essentially help student athletes in their career transition after they graduate from college and even if they go play professional when they decide to retire. And yeah, it's kind of where I'm at. So I'm living in sunny Florida and just kind of pursuing the sports corporate world now.
It's beautiful down here in Florida where we are.
It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
I understand why you drew that line. Well, I tell you, I
Exactly.
must have drew the same line you drew in Alabama because I was like, I'm headed to Florida.
Yeah.
So listen, I wanna kinda dive in a little bit though. It sounds like you've been on this, athletic journey for quite some time, and that tells me if you've been on it for that long, there has to have been ups and downs and things that you've gone through. We talk about mental wealth and what that journey is to get to that place of mental wealth because it is a continuum, but I know that people have experienced difficulty at some point in their athletic career. Speak
Mhm.
to me about kind of what your journey was through sport mentally. What were the highs and what were the low moments for you? What were the things
Yeah.
you struggled with the most?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I faced a lot of injury, and medical issues throughout my career. So
Mhm.
when I was a junior in high school, about to go into my senior year, I actually had a really bad appendicitis rupture. So my appendix ruptured. I had, emergency surgery. I was put back a really long time, lost about 35 pounds at a very young age. And
Wow.
so it was kind of like weight that I couldn't really lose at the time while I was playing volleyball. Recovered from that. And then a year later, blew out my ACL and MCL. So, was 5 months before my first college match at Flagler. I had to recover, and I did it in those 5 months, which was awesome, but obviously it was a very, committed summer to physical
Mhm.
therapy and kinda going through that. And then I ended up actually tearing my knee at the University of Florida as well, and tore my meniscus, fractured my femur in about 6
Yeah.
different places, and so that also put me back even further. So I would say the biggest thing that I faced in some of, like, the lowest moments were definitely through injury because I care a lot about my school, I go really hard, I'm very type A, and when, I didn't have volleyball as an escape from some of the things, whether it was school stress or, like, social stress or just in general life and everything that it throws at you, like, being on the court was where I felt the most confident and the most, like, at peace and at home, like, just, like, miss that feeling all the time,
Mhm.
and not having it and having it taken away from you and watching your peers and everyone else do it while you physically can't. I would say that was some of the most trying times throughout my athletic experience. Having teammates, having a support system, being surrounded by an athletic family that understood those things and understood those moments.
Mhm.
I am super thankful that I went through it, and it definitely made me the person that I am today because, I was able to rely on and lean on my teammates, coaches, mentors, and support system that, I really didn't even realize how many people had my back in those moments. So, yeah, I would say that was probably one of the biggest struggles for me.
I think it's powerful that you talk about, like, during that time and going through all the injuries, that it almost provided you exposure. Like, it showed you who was there. It showed you what you were capable of. So I wanna ask you, when you hear the word or the term "rooted in greatness," like, what do you hear as an athlete, former athlete? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, rooted in greatness, I think that, if you're passionate about something, you're gonna be great at it. So, like, you really gotta love whatever it is that you're doing in order to be great at it. I coach volleyball sometimes, and I tell people all the time, like, "Hey, you're not gonna win a national championship, you're not gonna win a state championship if you don't, love what you're doing and love showing up for the hard moments. You don't like if you love showing up for practice, you love showing up for those early morning lifts, you love doing the sprints because even though in the moment, yeah, it sucks. Like physically, some of those times sucks. And it doesn't matter that, I'm not saying every day has to be great, but, you know, over time and the people that you meet and the things that, you gain from your athletic journey is so important. And I think in order to be great and in order to be, rooted in greatness, like you
Mm.
have to love whatever it is that you're doing. And like for me, volleyball has always been something that I have loved my entire life since I was 8 years old, and yeah, there's other things that I love and that I'm passionate about, but nothing will beat out volleyball ever for me, and so I
Love
think that that's why I was able to become great at something, in the long term, but it wasn't, like, naturally, like, amazing at volleyball, like, it came with a lot of growth and a lot of learning,
it.
and so I think that for me, it's passion, it's love for me.
Just hearing you say that made me think while you were talking, I wonder what her League One team is then. Who you
Oh,
cheer
interesting.
who you
Yep. Yeah. So I would say right now it would be Madison just because it's, close to home. My favorite setter of all time, Lauren Carlini, she's been my role model ever since I was a little girl, plays for
got
Love Madison. She's unreal. She's literally the best setter I've ever seen in my life. And when I was younger, I actually used to purposely like braid my hair like her. Because I thought that if I braided my hair like her and wore like it like that during my games
Yeah,
and that, like, naturally, I would just, like, become the setter that she became. Uh
visualization.
exactly, I was manifesting. Yeah, definitely love B Madison just because she's just unreal, and I love watching her to this day.
I love it. So, let's go back to talking about kind of when you went through injury. You had a support system. Let me ask you, has your faith played a role for you in any capacity with your mental health journey? Like when you were in your low moments and when you had those days where you doubted whether I'm coming back from the injury, what does this mean for me next, right? Tell me about how your faith played a role in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that in those moments, no matter what, you have to be faithful because
Mm,
you are in a moment that, you physically cannot do some of the things you want to do. Maybe you are like I was on crutches for 6 weeks, not being able to even put a toe to the ground,
mm,
completely changes your life. And in those moments, you have to know that, like, you have to lean on your support system, but you also have to be motivated and find something within yourself in order to keep pushing forward. And for me, like, being at Florida, we had a lot of people on our team that pushed each other in our faith. And, we're able to do Bible studies together. And we had a lot of injuries that we faced in that fall of 2023. And I truly think that, like, part of it might have been trauma bonding, but, like, I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason.
Mm,
I think that, those moments, and even though we went through a lot of things individually, but also as a team together, I think that that has built relationships that are just everlasting, and you can't really, like, break those. And I truly think that, growing up, I grew up Catholic, and
mhm.
I truly do believe in divine intervention in some
Yeah.
moments. And I think that, for me, kind of turning into myself, like learning about myself, learning about how I reacted to certain things throughout my injuries and also throughout like some of my triumphs. Like, why is this
Mhm.
happening to me now? What's going on right now? Like, it just doesn't make sense to not look upward
Yeah.
and be grateful for every single one of those moments, because you never know when you're gonna get it back. And now I look back, and even though, in the moment it would have been frustrating and there's probably a list of things that I could have written off about physical therapy that I didn't wanna do and all of that, I
Yeah.
miss going to physical therapy with my teammates and spending that morning with them. Even though we were in a bad physical state, we were able to do it together, and, like, that to me means more than just playing volleyball.
I love that. So it sounds to me like the deeper meaning for you was not just volleyball. Volleyball was a means and showed you relationships. It showed you opportunity. And, you talked about that you went through these transitions where you were at Flagler, right? And then went on to UF. Mary called and said, "Hey, we want you over here." And you like, "Want me? I want to be where you at, right? I want to be there."
No, 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
What for you in that transition? Because we have athletes all the time who some hit the transfer portal different from you, not from the place of I've completed this and I got another year of eligibility. Some people are dissatisfied, but it
Yeah.
sounded to me like you had a hunger still.
Mhm.
It wasn't just like dissatisfaction. You just had more to give. There's more for me to do. Tell me what's that drive for you? Like what? Because I can even hear when you talk to me now. I still hear that drive, right? I still hear that hunger in you. Where does that come from for you?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And to be honest, like, my transfer portal journey was amazing, and I am super thankful for everything, because I tell my coach at Flagler at the time, like, when I was deciding whether to go in the portal or not, I was like, my heart is telling me to stay in St. Augustine, because I loved everything about that program. I love everything about that city, about that
Mhm.
college, and it opened up so many opportunities for me. And I'm so grateful for every single girl part of that program and coach that has been there. It opened doors for me to be able to go be on a bigger stage and be at Florida.
Mhm.
I would have never been able to be at Florida if it hadn't been for the time at Flagler and for the people that supported me at Flagler. And so I'm super thankful for that journey. And I really do think that, over time, like, just my work ethic and how long it took me to like set a goal of wanting to be on Mary Wise's bench. Like, my mom taught me about Mary Wise when I was 8 years old. She
Wow.
taught me about, what she's done for female athletes and how she's
Mhm.
advocated for Title IX and how she has been one of the most successful coaches in the NCAA, period. And I never even thought that I would be able to be in the same room as her. So in order to have my like idol and legend as a coach be, the person teaching me, the person in front of me, the person on my game days that's patting me on the back, high-fiving me, teaching me, and learning from her. It
Wow.
was just unreal, and I do think that a lot of that drive that I have still to this day, and that competitiveness, I will say, is completely because of my upbringing, from my parents,
Mhm.
from my family. They just, we fell in love with sports just kinda growing up. We were surrounded by sports being in Chicago and Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I got exposed to so many different amazing athletes and their stories and things that they've accomplished, and
Mhm.
I really truly think that, like, majority of it is because of them. The kind of the lifestyle that they created for me and the opportunities they gave me in order to be able to see, like, you can do this and you can get to that next level, and I needed to be, confident enough and know my worth enough in order to get there. And I think that now I carry that into my life outside of athletics. My mom and I always say, like, know your worth. Like, you never know
Mm,
what could happen next. You can't limit yourself. And that's kind
right.
of where I see that.
Kennedy, tell me about a time you struggled mentally though. I hear you, and it sounds like your parents did a phenomenal job, like, building confidence in you. When was a time where the confidence that they built in you was not there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say in the moment that when I went to Florida, I was a backup setter
Yeah.
and I knew that I was going to be a backup setter. We have a phenomenal setter at the time. Her name's Alexis Stuckey. She's still playing in college right now,
I
so
was
go
about to say,
watch
I
her.
know that name, Alexis Stuckey.
She's
Okay.
amazing. So I was playing behind her, and unfortunately, when we were playing Wisconsin in the preseason, she in the second set went down and she hurt her knee. She blew out her ACL and had to, like, completely end her season. And as her teammate, I was devastated for her because
Mhm.
that was just a terrible moment. And, we lost our quarterback, we lost our person that we looked to and our leader. And I
Mhm.
think that in that moment, I had been, built up with confidence coming from Flagler and, the support system I had and just kind of like getting to that level of being seen at the Power
Mhm.
5 level and being able to get there physically, but also just like with my leadership skills and my culture skills. I I immediately in that moment of like, shoot, like I have to be the starter now and I have to go into this. I had a confidence drop. And like as
Mm.
any athlete would, it's just kind of like the nerves kicked in and
Cannot
I
perform.
didn't really wear my crown the same way that I should have. And
Mm.
I think that in that moment, I was going through a lot at the time. My mom was going through breast cancer treatments. She was going through chemotherapy and radiation. And I was kind of living out this like dream that her and I both had at a really, from a really young age. And then, was kind of thrown into this situation. But I was also kind of guilty, like not being home, supporting her,
Mhm.
being there for her. And she understood the schedule that I was in. And I mean, she's a coach, she's a volleyball coach.
Yeah.
So she got it and she wanted me to go do that. And she wanted me to go live out that experience. But I think I really struggled for the first time with confidence in my volleyball capabilities because growing up, I was always, I wasn't always the top player. I wasn't always on the ones team. Like growing up, I was told a lot of times that I was too small. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't strong enough. And I worked so hard to get to that level that when I got there, it was kind of just like, shoot, now it's like even more difficult.
Mm.
But I I think that after I kind of picked myself up and realized, like, "Look, you're here for a reason." Like,
Right.
like, going back to, like, everything does happen for a reason. Like, there's a reason why you're on this team. There's a reason why Mary Wise chose you to be here, and it's not just because of who you are internally. Like, you are a phenomenal athlete, and you could do this. And I really
Mhm.
had to dive deep into myself and, like, figure out my self-worth in order to go out there and be there for my teammates, be there for my family, go out there with a smile, have fun,
Mhm.
play with joy, but also be there for the little girls that are gonna be in my position one day and show them like you can do this. And it's not the end of the world. Like you're going to do
Yeah.
amazing other things. And I think that that's like kind of how that journey took me.
When you look at uh, today's landscape of sports and after, I guess, being in it and playing, when you look at the mental health aspect of the sports, volleyball, for instance, what do you see just looking from an outside perspective now are some of the challenges that you make you question kind of, I guess, decision making, how you see people moving in the sports world right now in volleyball in the direction? What are some of the mental health concerns that you have?
I would say the biggest things being the pressure that has been put
Mm.
on athletes. That's been a thing for a long time coming, but especially now with the landscape of NIL and athletes being able to be paid outrageous amounts of money,
Mhm.
and getting contracted at a very young age in these deals, I think that, your worth kind of increases. And it's not really just about making a team or getting a scholarship anymore. It's about how
Mhm.
much money you're making off of brand deals. Also, your life is put on blast. Like, you really don't have a choice. Before when you're playing college athletics, like anyone can find a clip of me and put it on YouTube and tear it apart or build it up, right? But I see both.
Mhm.
And I think that right now, because athletes are put on such a high platform, high pedestal, and they're kind of just exposed whether they like it or not,
Mhm.
oftentimes, like, they determine their self-worth based on their performance, and
Yeah.
that's not the reality of what sports should be. Sports are entertainment, sports are what bring people together, sports are what creates
Right.
passion and love, just like music and art,
Yeah.
and I think that, like, it makes me sad that we see, like, the suicide rate in the NCAA going up over and over and over again, and I think that there's a lack of support for athletes.
Yeah.
I think that it's changing, and there's more psychology that is being dedicated to athletes,
Mm.
which I'm very thankful for, but I don't think it's always for the right reasons. I think
Yeah.
that we aren't always fully listening to what athletes need, and oftentimes the cry for help is out there, and it's really, really clear as day.
Mm.
But to someone that maybe isn't a part of athletics or doesn't understand it as much, it's maybe not as visible, but
Yeah.
as a former athlete, like, I can notice right away when someone's going through something.
Yo, Kennedy, I think that's so powerful. You saying that the cry for help is out there, people just not listening to the cry, right? Or in a lot of ways, Kennedy, I always ask myself the question, have we replaced the value of the cry for help with the revenue, right? Like
Mhm.
it's more important. My attention is to the revenue we're bringing in, not you crying for help,
Yeah.
which basically essentially means that you're just a product,
Right.
even a person.
Yeah.
And that's what I see happen a lot of times with the athletes that I work with is that they feel right that they don't really care about me. They don't care. They care about my production and how that production impacts them, but I'm struggling. But I can't stop to deal with what I'm struggling with because
Mhm.
I have to perform for them.
Exactly, and I think that in that there's what I kind of see is these transactional relationships that
Exactly.
come with athletes and coaches and athletes and teammates, and it creates, a lot of issues overall, and when you're talking about team culture and trying to build a program and love and family, like, coaches always
Mhm.
wanna be like, "I love my players," or like, "This is our family," and it's really hard when you're saying that when someone else is getting paid $3,000,000 and you're not, and it's like, it's really it's difficult to not to I guess to know what's genuine and what isn't. And
Mm.
that's why it's really important that coaches and like myself and, athletes in general continue to remember like why we play because it isn't for the status. It isn't for the Instagram posts. It isn't for the likes. It isn't for that. It's the feeling that you get after you stuff block someone. It's this feeling that you get after you win a championship and you get to hug your teammates after. Like that's what I love about it. I
Mhm.
could care less where it's posted or what I'm getting paid for it. It's about the genuine love for the sport and what it brings for you as an individual, but
Mhm.
also what you can bring to so many other people by being put on blast, by having all of these platforms and exposure that is put out there.
Look, I love that because what you're saying to me is almost like we need to rewire, and that's what we train in performance psychology is, right? Rewiring your mindset, right? And it almost like it seems like sports as a whole needs a rewire, a reframe,
Yep.
right? We know that the money is there, but let's not
Right.
get distracted. Like these are people, and people need help, they need support, they need to grow. Let me ask you this. What daily habits for you keep you grounded?
Yeah.
Now you've transitioned, right? You've transitioned out of athletics, which is can be a difficult path for a lot of people. Even my professional athletes that I work with, when they are headed to retirement, they're now like, whoa, I've been doing so you probably did volleyball how many years?
My whole life. I
Like
started when I was 8 years old.
so 20 some years maybe?
Yeah.
But if you
About yeah, like, I would say, like, 15, yeah.
15 to 20 years? So you think about you doing it 15, think about like professional athlete, like by the time they're if they've been doing it over 10 years, which is not typical because most professional athlete does it 3 to 5, 3 to 8, 3 to 9, 3 to 10 years. But if you've been doing it 15 in addition to all the other years, that means your life has been dedicated to being this identity.
Yep.
How did you transition, right, to the next version of you?
Yeah.
What grounded you and helped you move forward?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and it's honestly something that I will say, like, to this day, I still struggle with, and
Mhm.
so I'm a couple of years removed now, and in that first year that I was, not playing and, I had gotten surgery, so I kinda transitioned straight into my job. My first day at the office, I was in an immobilizer and crutches from
Wow.
my knee surgery. So it was kinda like you went straight from being an athlete, still kinda holding that, and then
Yeah.
moving into corporate, and I will say, it sounds maybe a little silly, but having PT 3 times a day in the
Mhm.
morning, having to go and, like, work on myself, and also, like, kinda getting a little deja vu from a former surgery that,
Mm.
like, I'm going to work for my body to work towards something, and, like, this is purposeful, really helped me in my routine because it was like, I have to be somewhere, someone's relying on me to be there because my
Mhm.
PT is gonna be there. I'm working on myself. And then towards the end of the recovery, I was like, "Wait, like, I'm not going back to season after this." And,
Yeah.
like, I'm not like, what is my purpose of working out? What is my purpose
Yeah.
of going for a run? What is my purpose of doing hang cleans? Like, I don't have to ever do that again if I don't want to, but
Mm.
what is my purpose? And now within the last year, I really have found a love in just, like, honestly, taking care of myself because I think growing up, I was like, "Okay, I need to get straight A's in order to get a scholarship. I
Mm.
need to be on the top, club team in order to get the exposure that I want. I wanna be able to win a national championship when I go to college," like, all of those things, and it got to a point where, like, my purpose was only for my school and then volleyball and
Yeah.
my success in those 2 things. So then afterwards, it was like, "Wait, so I don't have either of those things anymore.
Right.
Like, where what is successful for me? What is purpose for me?"
Mhm.
And honestly, I think, like, having a quality of life that I want, being able to be in sunny Florida, being close to the ocean, like, it brings a sense of calmness and just kind of, like, a sense of, like, it's okay and you're doing okay. Anytime I
Yeah.
go walk on the beach or see a sunrise or see a sunset, it's just, like, weird how much my body just, like, completely reacts to when I'm super stressed. If I go for a beach walk for 5 minutes, immediately I'm like, "Okay, you
Mm.
are fine, you are doing well,
Mhm.
like, people love you, you're successful," like, and
Mm.
it gets me back into a realm of, like, a reset. And honestly, like, in athletics, you have to really try to, like, manage your time in order to take to yourself because you're with people 24/7, whether
Right.
you want to or not. You're working on your sport 24/7, you're working on your grades 24/7, and honestly, oftentimes there's not a lot of time for you and what
Right.
you who you are outside of it. And so I've been actually super excited to, like, figure out who I am
Right.
and what I
Mm.
like in order to, like, kind of, like, create new hobby and but also, it's okay that I still love volleyball and I wanna be around it and that I coach and that I go play beach, but it's okay that I don't do it at a level that is
Right.
extreme. I do it
Right.
because, again, I love it and I wanna be around it, and it doesn't matter for, a scholarship or a label or a title anymore. It's like, this
Mm.
is just Kennedy who likes to play volleyball.
I like that because basically what you're saying is once you stop playing, it almost reshaped you again,
Yep,
right? That it's over that way. I always tell people you don't retire, you refire,
love
right?
that.
And so you just rearranged how you did this thing now.
Mhm.
And I always encourage athletes to tell them, listen, the time or the score or the amount of points you want to score, all that stuff is always going to be able to have a different shape or form. Like you're going to always reach for the podium. You're going to always try to go for these outcomes. But I told them, why don't you pause and instead of focusing on outcomes, focus on what comes out,
I love that.
right? Don't give your attention to an outcome.
Yeah,
Pay attention to what's in you and coming
yeah.
from, right?
No,
Moving through
absolutely.
you. What did suffering teach you that success never could?
Absolutely. I think suffering helped me kind of just be able to combat things in life now or
Mhm.
things outside of my sport, that maybe I would have reacted differently to, because it's been like, all right, I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot for a reason,
Mhm.
but I always came out of it and I always was able to, move on, move forward, be a better person, be a better human. And I think that, like, now it's like, okay, yeah, I went through those things for a reason, but I came out on the other side and I always was gonna be okay. Like, even after that first knee injury, I was like, "Oh, this sucks," right? And it's, like,
Yeah.
so close to my first college season. Then after, 5 years later, being healthy throughout, my whole career, and then at the near end of it, hurting it again, I listened to myself and listened to my body, but I also was able to be like, "Look, you've done this before, you can do it again, and it's going to be okay once you come out of it, even if it doesn't feel like it right now." Because like, I've already been there in that moment, and I feel like now being able to talk with athletes that, are going through the same thing, whether they're in high school, whether they're in college, to just kind of be a mentor to be like, look, even though it sounds and feels like nothing's going to change out of this,
Mhm.
and you can't walk down your stairs and you can't take a shower alone, like you can't do any of these things that you want to just
Want to
do
do.
that you didn't
Mhm.
realize, you are going to be okay. You're going to come back from it. And I think that
Mm.
it that suffering and like going through the trials and tribulations makes me think that, like, long term, there's always something bigger and better. And it's like the things that I went through at Flagler, just as an individual, I think led me to go on the big stage at Florida. And I think the things that happened at Florida led me into my career now. And I think the things that I'm going through now are going to lead me into even bigger and better things.
But that's powerful because life is a tapestry. I always tell people it's a tapestry. And so wherever you are today, yes, is connected to where you'll be tomorrow. But there'll be things that you can use and extract, but there'll also be things that you can leave behind. But
Absolutely.
means that all baggage don't need to go.
Yeah.
Some things you can pack and take because you can utilize it, and they'll be tools. Let me
Yeah.
ask you, like, if you could point out for yourself, I got a funny question. I know you, let me ask you a funny question. If you could pick another sport to play, what other sport would you have?
Okay, this is gonna be so random. Um, but okay, well, first of all, if we're technically speaking, beach volleyball, I'd be able to play beach volleyball. I love volleyball, so would love to play beach volleyball. If I could have gone back
Okay.
and just done that because I did play when I was younger. But I was a competitive Irish dancer for 8 years. Super crazy. Trinity Irish Dancers in Chicago, shout out.
You still get it? You still get
So it's crazy. I started in like ballet and tap when I was younger. And
okay.
then my family is very Irish. And so we were like, okay, I guess we'll try it out. And I like was kind of freakishly good at it. Like it was like
Mhm.
very odd, like weirdly talented. It just kind of came naturally. And then I kept competing. And then when I got to high school, my parents were like, all right, you got volleyball, you got Irish dance, like you got to pick one because we can't be driving left and right and doing all of these things. So I ended up picking volleyball, which, thankfully took me to where I am today.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I could pick, I would love to go back and just kinda see what my journey would've looked like if I would've, like, taken up Irish dance because
Y'all called
kind of
her.
following
Y'all
some of the
called her.
people that
She
I
said
danced
she'll
with.
come back. She's saying she'll come back.
I literally have asked, like, even after I got done with my knee surgery, my mom was trying for my birthday because she had, like, found that I lived close to, like, a Irish dance studio, so she tried to see if I could get, like, one class to just, like, go and,
Oh,
relearn and reminisce. I still pull it out on St. Patrick's Day, it's the greatest party trick ever. But, you to do that and just kinda see what that environment would have been like because I'm going to be so honest, and this is where the passion comes in. Irish dancing was so fun, and I loved performing, and I
yeah.
loved putting myself out there in front of stages of people and, like, just, like, going out and performing and putting a smile on for other
Yeah.
people, but I truly never practiced. Like, any time outside
Yeah.
of my designated practice time, my parents would be like, "Are you gonna practice for your performance coming up?"
No.
I never did. I was always playing with volleyball. So it was like, I knew what my
You
choice
knew
was,
what
and I wonder if I put the time and energy that I did in volleyball into Irish dance, like, literally, where would I be? Would I be on Riverdance? Like, what would happen?
hey, listen, with this hunger that I still see, I'm serious, with this hunger
I
that
would be in Ireland just jigging it up.
I'm not gonna be shocked. Imma follow and see, where's Kennedy now? There she is on the stage. Kennedy's on the stage.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Let me ask you this, when you think about, like, athletes that are currently still playing currently right now, do you feel that people are out proving? You've been through this kinda in sport where you're either trying to prove yourself or you learn to accept yourself. Do you feel that athletes are more focused on proving how great they are, or do you think that people are trying to learn to accept their greatness?
Yeah, that's a really good question. From the youth sports standpoint, it's
Mhm.
hard because I feel like majority is the proving. But I think that there's still athletes at every level that are the contrary, where they're
Mm,
accepting it and they're actually diving into it and they're doing the things, they're setting the standards, and I think that that's where you get these, like, standout athletes. Think that social media and just, like, kind of how early young kids are on platforms and now, like, even recruiting, realizing that, like, it's changed to, like, having an Instagram page with your film instead of a huddle, like, my parents had to pay for, like, Huddle and all of these different platforms to help
Yeah.
me get recruited, and now it's, like, a simple Instagram account that, people are
mhm,
getting recruited by, which is, again, on blast to everyone. It's not like, nobody can access that, and so, I think that the media has definitely changed the mindset with, like,
mm.
always trying to, like, prove that
True.
you're great,
Yeah.
because really all that's posted right now is highlights, and I'm not saying that, like, I didn't have highlight reels, but I feel like sometimes in a team sport, it's hard for me to see players that are selfishly playing only for their personal gain,
Right.
because the point of being on a team sport is winning as a team
Right.
and competing as a team. Like, being a setter, like, I don't like, I'm there to set up plays for my hitters to execute them. And so, like, my mindset is like, our team wins. Every single person that sits on the bench is a part of that win and a
That's
part of
right.
that loss, by the way, too. And I think that now it's a lot of like, why am I not playing over this person?
Mhm,
Why am
mhm.
I not getting this silver medal over this person? And to me, I never grew up being allowed to like just be given accolades with two coaches as my
Right.
parents. Like,
Not
if
have
I went to a volleyball qualifier and there was a t-shirt that I wanted, my mom's like, if you win first place in the highest division, then you can get one. But if you
shout out
don't,
to your mom. I
then
love us coaches as parents. Yeah.
yeah, she was like, "You don't deserve a t-shirt unless you win it. Like, why would you need a t-shirt from there? And, like, also, if you win it, you're probably gonna get a free t-shirt, so,
Go to
like,
your
let's."
room and get a T-shirt. No.
Exactly, that's the thing, and so, I see a lot of and I honestly do think that parents have a huge part to do with it. I think that
Mm,
that is a major piece of an athlete and how they react to certain
Mhm.
coaches and the way they set their standards because, they're either forcing that their kid is going to do this and their kid is accepting it in one
yeah.
way or another, or, they're trying to prove that their kid's the best. That I think that, growing up, it was kind of always opposite for me. I was never, my parents, yes, they're proud of me and they supported me the whole time. But like every time that I got done with the game, whether I played well or didn't, there was always something more that I could do.
Right.
Whether it was as a teammate, the way I played, the way I sat. And so I think that like that's why I have like this kind of drive that you're talking about. Cause even with the success I've had and I feel accomplished and I feel happy with my journey,
Mhm.
like, I don't know if I'll ever feel satisfied in whatever I do for the
No.
rest of my life because
Mhm.
I always wanna keep going for more because there's always someone out there working harder than you. So
Mm.
it's like, that to me is where I feel like we're lacking a lot in the youth sports world right now.
You know, you just sharing that made me think, I'm like, I need to get Kennedy to my conference that we're doing. We're doing a conference here in July called In His Name, Image, and Likeness. And
Oh,
one
I
of the
love that.
sessions, though, is gonna be taught on the power of rest because a lot of people think about recovery, and recovery always is coming from a place of injury or
Yeah,
after practice has happened or after a game or and it's never actually from a upstream place where you're actually resting. Like, rest is recovery. It's not, "I'm sleeping because I had a
yeah,
game," right? No, rest is as important as the weight room,
absolutely.
right? And so I think when I hear you, that drive that we all have in athletics, I'll never forget a person said to me, that said, "Tarico, you're a go-getter. I need you." I was in a therapy session. She said, "I need you to go into a room without any notebooks, without any books, without anything that you can look at or you can read. And I need you to sit in quiet." And I was like, "That's gonna be boring."
Yeah,
And I was like, what's the purpose of this?" And she was like, "Because you need to learn how to sit in silence
yeah,
and allow yourself to be bored." And I was like,
yeah,
"What? Be bored for what?" She said, "Because there are things that you're not seeing because you won't stop."
yeah. I I do that on purpose. Like, take more opportunities. I say yes to so many things because I like don't want to sit in my own. I don't know if it's like thoughts or like
Mhm.
if I don't like I feel like I need to be doing something all the time. And I've realized in my adult life that that is not healthy and that there needs to be rest and there needs to be but like if I have a weekend and I have 2 days off that I like don't have volleyball or like I'm not coaching or I'm not doing something, I'm like, okay, well, what 5 million other things could I be doing to better my life right now? And
Mhm.
it's never just like, relaxing or like, and I don't know
Acceptance.
why. I don't know why I do it. It's like it's a subconscious thing and I don't do it on purpose. I'm not trying to like drive myself into the ground, but then I do because I'm like, wait, now I'm really tired.
We condition our brains that way, right?
Yeah.
Most people condition their brains that if they are sitting, they're not moving forward. Like,
Yeah.
it's the lazy we get taught as athletes.
Yes.
Why are you being lazy? What are you doing? Why are you sitting? Get up,
Yep.
take a knee. Like, no,
Yep.
don't sit down, right?
Yeah.
And so it trains your brain to be always moving. But I always tell people if you're always moving, then you don't actually allow yourself the space so that the muscle grows. Muscles don't grow just from you working them out.
Yeah.
They also grow from getting proper oxygen.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so sometimes you need to stop and stretch
In order to
in order
grow.
for muscle to
Yeah.
grow.
No, that's I love that. That makes sense.
When you think about Kennedy, like now, where you are and kind of looking forward, looking at athletes, what would you speak to a young athlete right now? Some athlete is in college right now, and you talked about it. They are struggling, they're crying at night about the process. Some freshman is stressed out because it's their first time being away from their parents.
Mhm.
Some senior had an injury. Some high school student is stressed out about their recruitment process.
Mhm.
I want you to speak to how important it is for them to reach for support and how important their mental wealth is. What would you say
Yeah.
to that athlete?
I would say that it's really, really difficult, and I understand how difficult it is to ask for help sometimes as an athlete. Like, you feel soft. You feel this sense of like, I can't because I don't want to be looked at or viewed as X, Y, and Z. And I think that that is a very big problem right now because most coaches, when you do ask for help, when you have that hard conversation, when you go to their office in the morning, they will sit and listen and they will understand where you're coming from because most likely they've been in the exact same position as you. If they've been a coach, their whole life, or if they've played sports before they became a coach. So I have always been frustrated or stressed out in moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to have this conversation. Or like I'm nervous and I'm anxious to go talk to my coach about this. Or I'm really irritated with what's happening on the team and I don't feel confident in going to have a conversation with that teammate.
Mhm,
Every single time that I've chosen to have the conversation and ask for help and just being vulnerable, I've
mhm,
always felt 25 times better and something better comes out of it
mm,
every single time. And so the advice I would give is that if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're pissed off, like whatever it is that is going on in your scenario, in your situation, go talk to the source right away. Go talk to that individual. If it goes bad, you did the best you can. If it goes well, odds are it will go well and you're going to get something out of it for your team, for yourself as an individual, and also you're motivating that other person to continue to do those same things as well. And I think that on the internal side, asking for help, you're not soft. You're doing something that so many people do not do.
right.
You're playing a sport, you're managing your social life, you're managing your education, you're managing your family life, and you're going through so many different things growing from high school to college, and it goes by so, so, so fast. And it's
Mhm,
like, I hate that there were moments that I sat in for so long
mhm,
because I was anxious about what was gonna happen next, instead of just
mhm,
taking the leap. Because I feel like there's moments where I could have grown even further for my team, for, individual teammates, for my coaches, or been better in moments if I would have not sat for as long and if I would have spoken up sooner.
mm,
And last thing, for anyone that's not feeling confident, who feels like maybe this isn't what they wanna do or they can't do it, but they still love the sport, my biggest thing is, like, know your worth, because
mm,
if you can figure out what your worth is and you can, find a goal and you can go after it, like, coming from someone who never even thought at all that her favorite ever volleyball legend would call her and have her phone number,
Mm.
got to be her player, and a story
Yeah.
that she tells to this day. Like, she tells people about that story, and she's connected, she's a great mentor for me,
That's
and
awesome.
it's something that I never even imagined in my entire life when I was playing volleyball, and
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that, like, I proved to myself and I maybe didn't just, like, fit in with what everyone else was doing,
Yeah.
and I was the odd one out in certain rooms and certain teams and certain programs in order to reach that space of going all the way to your dream. And I think that if they can carry that on into their life, now being in corporate, I have to know my worth. I'm
Yeah.
selling a product that is helping student athletes in their transition. And if I get on a call and I don't come on confident, like, yeah, I know how to sell this. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about. And I know exactly what I'm offering you. And it's amazing stuff. Why would they take the call? Why would they say yes to my product? And so now I can transition that into my life and every other thing, that I do day to day. If I know my worth, I know that 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna make it to the next level.
I love that. Listen, what you just said, what came up for me is telling everybody to dare to live as big as your dreams.
Yes.
Like we always say, dream big, but I always tell people, live big like your dream, man.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be it in order for you to see it. Like
Mhm.
we're thinking that it's always something that you have to go and get and actually believe that you are it,
Yep.
right? And start living like it.
Yep.
And so, Kennedy, I want to say, first of all, man, thank you so much for this time and being willing to avail this time to talk to us and share your story. Where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you, Kennedy?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, the best way, honestly, to connect would be either on LinkedIn or on Instagram. They can search me up on LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn. Love connecting with people, love, sharing advice and even just hopping on calls with individual athletes. Sometimes I do that just because they ask for advice about career or just like individual their story and what they're going through right now. And also maybe on Instagram as well. My handle is K Muffster, and so I can, kind of share that with you. But yeah, I think that those would be the best two places to be able to connect with me. But no, thank you so much. It's so cool to be able to kind of talk about my story. There's not often times that I get to share some of the things that I went through anymore. So I appreciate you creating a space for athletes to be able to do this.
No, thank you so much. We appreciate you and the Gators. I do got to say roll tide to you.
Ah,
Before
no.
I do have to say roll tide though, but it's so great to have you, Kennedy. And I definitely wish you the best. As I'm wrapping up here, I'm like, man, I need to bring Kennedy in to do a workshop with me with a group of volleyball girls.
Heck yeah, let's
So
go.
don't be shocked if I reach out and be like, Kennedy, want to run a workshop with me? So thank you so much for your time though today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Y'all give it up for Kennedy. Muff is in the building. The Muffster is here, y'all. All right, Kennedy, you have a good one.